All right. You got me. Anyway, hello. It is time once again for your weekly mid-card mana. Sometimes several times a week. Who knows? If it gets to about 14 times a week, see a doctor. But this is
The Loose Cannon.
And
Sam Keola, the Wrestling Connoisseur.
thank you. And this is our review of last night's pay-per-view. Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, the Raw-Exclusive pay-per-view for WWE.
Yeah, not so exclusive, actually.
I mean, yeah. I mean, marquee
kind of
specifically,
exclusive.
mostly Raw.
Mostly
I'd say
Raw.
90% Raw.
However you would figure that out. Yeah, so as we brought earlier, there's some changes to the lineup.
Yes.
And those were both good and bad changes, I would say.
On paper, they were great.
Yeah,
we'll talk a little bit more about how they were in practice in the actual matches. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll
so
cross
the
that bridge
pre-show,
when
I
we
guess.
get there. So the pre-show was Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. Our prediction, of course, was for Fox, but they couldn't give it to her.
No.
They couldn't give it to her.
Sasha is in the doghouse. It came out like all at once. Sausage. She's in the doghouse, kind of. I mean, she's on the pre-show.
And yet she still got the win.
Of course, she still got the win.
But it was interesting because there was a good display of power from Alicia Fox, and they did the commentators actually did talk about how she is deceptively powerful for being so tall and skinny. So, well...
It's very windy today. I'm going to blame it on the wind.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will give Alicia Fox credit because she's been around for so long, and I remember when she started, she absolutely sucked.
Yeah, and I mean, now she has a pretty decent-looking tilt-a-whirl backbreaker.
Yeah, she has come a long way in many years, but she, I don't think she gets enough credit.
And she owns her gimmick. Mm-hmm. And she's definitely shown that she's willing to play ball for the company.
Yeah, she's pretty versatile.
In all of the things that they've had her do over the years. So I think it was nice. A nice show of dominance, maybe so that she can be taken a little bit more seriously as a contender. Unfortunately, not serious enough to get that win, but I mean, Sasha still is a fan favorite, so I understand their reasoning there.
Merchandise.
Sasha has more merchandise, but Alicia Fox finally has a shirt.
There you go.
Crazy like a fox.
Maybe there'll be more. It's actually a really nice shirt too.
Yeah,
so
we were talking about it. Yeah, it looks...
Did they have anything else on the pre-show?
Nope, it was just that. That was the only match on the pre-show.
Usually it's just one match.
Even though
two.
Elias Sampson and Jason Jordan should have been, but we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah. So we just going to jump into the pay-per-view then, or do you want to just skip around?
Well, I mean, I would like to keep it in some sort of semblance of order, especially because the two matches that we were going to talk the most about are kind of very close to each other.
That's true.
So the first match, which was surprising to me, was Emma versus Asuka.
And I've heard a lot of complaints from people who really didn't follow NXT, don't really know the NXT history of it all, and WWE did not do any footwork to talk about the Asuka Emma feud from NXT.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Even at the pay-per-view.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing was mentioned.
They did not mention a single thing about it. They talk about how Emma had done her homework and researched Asuka, but I was just sort of like, well, there's also the fact that they fought each other in NXT.
That would have helped in that, I think just even mentioning that casually in any of the matches or in the build to this would have gone a long way.
For Emma.
Yeah, for the feud in general, because I know some of my friends were like, why do I even care about this match? And then I said, oh, well, they do have a history in NXT. And then they're like, oh, well, that would make sense then.
Well, it was funny because the Raw a couple weeks ago, and they had the Fatal 5-Way for it. And I believe it was it Dana Brooke, Alicia Fox, Sasha, Bayley, Emma, right? Bayley mentioned that she had fought Asuka but both
Right.
Dana Brooke and Emma also had, and that
Right.
was not mentioned at all. So I think it was sort of a waste, because here are two people that, you know, you're struggling to find spots for in the women's division on Raw. You're trying to figure out storylines for them, maybe, or maybe they've given up. I don't know.
No.
But to have that credence that, you know, maybe they didn't do incredibly well against Asuka, but they still fought her,
Here's
would
my take.
have gone a long way to actually making them sort of have legitimate claims to fighting her again.
When you only have 7 competitors in a division, and ultimately somebody's got to be the jobber. And I mean, you may have your top few, and then you gotta have your bottom few, which is obviously Emma, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke. So they got to feed somebody to Asuka. My thing is when you have Emma win that 5-way or whatever it was, it's kind of unbelievable because she never wins anything hardly. Like, if she wins, it's because her teammate is like Nia Jax and beats the living shit out of the others, and then Emma pins them.
Gets the
like,
you know, the pin
win.
steal.
She never wins on her own. So a little bit unbelievable.
Which is a shame with how they're handling her now, because I mean, back when she was a face, and especially when she was early on in NXT, I mean, she was one of 2 women that competed to be the inaugural NXT Women's Champion, the other being Paige. So to see how much she's sort of, her career sort of declined because of injury and gimmick change and all that is just really sort of a shame. Because, I mean, we've seen that she's talented and that she definitely has a lot to bring to the table,
I mean,
heel or face.
In this match last night.
But
it
yeah,
was a good match.
it was.
And everybody that I know that, you know, that really sat down and watched it was like, oh, I was really pleasantly surprised with that.
Yeah,
I didn't have high hopes for it.
I was surprised that Emma got to last as long as she did.
It was a competitive
I thought
match.
it was, I
Which
was afraid it was
worked.
going to be a squash match.
I would have been fine if it was a squash match, just because of how crappy they've always used Emma. And Asuka's supposed to be coming in as dominant.
Yeah.
But actually having her take everything Emma could throw at her, and then still, you know, just a regular, I guess you would call it a face match. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to push her as a face at this point. But, you know, just going through the motions and having a good match and coming back from everything Emma could throw at her, and Asuka wins. And it looked good. And then, of course, there's supposed to be a rematch tonight on Raw between them as well. And I don't know if that will be the end of their feud or what. I'm going to say probably so, unless, like,
well, I mean,
Emma
what
gets buddies to come with her.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see, because we're gonna. I mean, we're still trying to figure out where Asuka's gonna fall in this, how quickly they're gonna push her, not push her.
It's going to be interesting, because I'm sure Triple H is trying to pull for her probably to remain undefeated and
for quite some time.
You know, they've put so much build into it, but we don't know. I mean, we see what's happened to Bo Dallas. They kept the undefeated streak for like a hot minute, and then they had him lose to Truth.
I was gonna say R-Truth, I think it was, right?
And like 2 or 3 times in a row, and then Dallas finally beats Truth, and then that was just that,
and that was the feud and his career.
Yeah, pretty much his career, because then he got meningitis, and here we are. Apparently, he open mouth kissed Roman, and
I believe it.
The
sounds
rest
accurate.
is history.
I think that did happen.
Bray pulled those strings, and there we are. So yeah, after that, did it go straight to the next match?
No.
I
So
can't
then
remember.
Elias Sampson came out with a song.
Okay, so
and talked about how he wanted to hear how many of us feel alive tonight, and then not many people respond. He's like, well, by the sounds of that, sounds like all of you are dead inside. And I'm like, I sure am.
Yeah.
And then he says, but I can fill you with life. And I was like, hard pass, hard pass.
I will say that Elias on the show, I was worried because that there was no build to have Elias on the show. You know, even for pre-show, undercard, nothing. So I was
figured
like,
I figured he was going to be on the show somewhere because the card was so thin that he was going to get thrown into something. And I think we had actually anticipated that Elias and Jordan was going to probably happen.
At somewhere. But it was like, I don't think they had planned it because...
Because they clearly didn't know how to book this pay-per-view.
The Raw before, we had a 6-man tag where Apollo Crews
got the win.
Took the pin on Elias. And so
he pinned Machine Gun.
And so it was like, yeah, they're just like throwing things together and just wiping all these other feuds under the table. And I'm guessing they expected things to go longer with the pre-planned matches that they really poorly built for anyway. I'm bitter, if you can't tell.
Yeah, I mean,
and with good reason.
The last 20 minutes of this video is gonna be rant. I'm certain. I'm prepared for it because I feel it in my body too.
But I was glad that they included Elias. I think Elias, if they continue to do a nice slow build, which they are, probably because they're so obsessed with Roman and all the other things going on in the main event. If they continue to do a nice slow build with Elias, I think he's got a huge future ahead of him because he's doing great work and he hasn't resorted to destroying a guitar, even though it's his prop, which is great.
He hasn't resorted to that in a while because he did do that when he feuded with Balor.
Well, like Jarrett did it every show, So I mean, I'm glad to see it. Yeah. Although. The Good Brothers could be.
That was the best. I'll never forget that. I was hoping so hard.
I'm hoping. I'm just going to go ahead and skip. They did several segments with Elias and Jason Jordan.
I'm gonna scroll to my notes for them.
If that was because they went out and then they said, let's throw this match on next. Because this whole pay-per-view
it seemed very much sort of like a time filler to make sure that the people who were in the match next were prepared. That's what it seemed like. That's what it came across
seemed like
as
chaos.
And I mean, he had some good moments where he talks about this is going to be a song that will change our lives. And I was hoping, dear God, that it was the Honky Tonk Man theme again.
Well, it was so strange. Like, it started up and you expected more, and then you get...
And then Jason Jordan just throws produce at him, like...
And Jordan is laughing
celery.
like he can't help himself. And it just seems so weird. Like, I'm watching this and I'm like...
I mean, it worked. It worked for the character, for the purposes of that. Because, you would be laughing if you're throwing stuff at people, too.
I wish I was there to throw things last night.
I know. It would have been great.
So then, they did it. And then they come back again later. And they did the same spot again with a different song. I'll give Elias props there. Another different song, and same thing happens again. It was like, okay, did they just order a retake, or what's going on here?
Who knows?
Then it comes up again later, and they finally have a match.
Yeah.
And, it was a nice little match.
Yeah.
Jordan seemed to get, I don't know if he was supposed to or what, but Jordan did get, like, the shaky pin.
The schoolboy sort of roll up.
Elias's shoulder was up.
Yeah.
And they did note that. So I don't know if they're trying to...
That's probably going to be something.
Make that into a thing.
One weird thing also I noticed was
it seems like such a ripoff of Rude Ziggler right now. Yeah. It's too close together.
Yeah. One weird thing also is that Elias Sampson, as he was getting ready, Hulk Hogan's his shirt. Which was like...
Elias is great.
Seemed so weird. Like, it didn't seem in character. So, it didn't seem like it would follow
out of character
his
all the
characters,
time.
So I was just sort of like...
Flat-footed jump to the top rope in his boots.
That's right.
In that one match. It was like, where did that come from? You just channeled...
Came from within.
You just channeled Shelton Benjamin and jumped to the top rope. It was like, holy cow. No, Elias is holding out on us.
I gotta say, that was pretty cool, but at the same time, it was just sort of like... I mean, I respect you want to show off what you can do. That's cool. But you have to, I feel like it's not just being athletic or being this or that, especially when you have a very specific character like he does. You have to find ways to make it sort of all mesh together. And in some ways, he's getting better at it. But in other ways, there are things that are just so completely like outliers of that. That it's a little jarring. So if he finds ways to work that all together...
if I was writing for them, I would have huge plans for Elias.
If you're writing for them, this pay-per-view would not have happened.
It would have happened.
It would not have happened
TLC,
the way it happened.
but
We would have
You know
had
what
a
gets
tables
me?
match, a ladders match, and a chairs match.
You know what gets me?
And a TLC match.
the ladders weren't even really used. Like
Yeah.
nobody climbed a ladder to do anything. I mean,
we'll
once
talk,
or
we'll
twice.
talk about that when
but
it gets to the
it just
actual
wasn't that
actual TLC match, the single
Although
one.
I have seen a lot of people complaining, like, really, where is the tables match? Where's the ladders match? Where's the chairs match?
I mean that
is
was
this TLC
it's a hallmark.
or is this?
It's a hallmark of a TLC pay-per-view. There's always a tables match, there's always a ladders match, there's always a chairs match, and then there's a TLC match.
And there's always a 5-on-3 match. No, wait. No, that didn't happen. So yeah.
So the next match after this, which I actually really liked, I was surprised by the outcome, was the tag team cruiserweight match.
A very good match.
So it was Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander versus the Brian Kendrick and gentleman Jack Gallagher. Jack Gallagher finally has different entrance music. Love it. I'm about it.
I'm still not sold on Gallagher and Kendrick team, duo, whatever they are.
It's weird
but,
still. I mean, it
Alexander and Swan
have great
together
chemistry.
are amazing.
I mean, both tag teams have pretty good chemistry as far as doing tag team ring work.
Oh yeah.
Which we noticed definitely in the match. I mean, Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander, even though they have very similar styles, they're very good at working complementary to each other, even if it's a lot of similar type moves.
It's like a throwback to the Rockers almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strange comparison, but they were very similar in styles, and they got in there and they did the same things really, but it worked. And they're even.
Please don't turn Rich
better
Swann or
than the
Cedric
Rockers.
Alexander against each other. Don't do it.
I enjoy them
Don't do
way
it.
much more than I ever did the Rockers. Of course, different time and everything, but if it was me, I would have this team actually competing for tag titles. I mean, this match itself shows that 205 needs tag titles.
Yes.
And
I mean, they're
why not?
This match was amazing, honestly. I thought it was really good as far as showcasing each and every single one of these guys. There were a lot of quick tags between Kendrick and Gallagher. And there was a lot of really good saves or trying to stop interferences from Swann. So Swann, I believe it was, hit the Phoenix Splash on Gallagher after Gallagher tried to yank Cedric Alexander out of the ring. So I thought, really nice moments, really good work between everyone.
So once again, the pay-per-views start, pretty
high up there.
This is good so far, and it's kind of slowly.
Yeah. Also, I have to say,
first two matches were great.
Every time Cedric Alexander hits that handspring roundhouse kick, I fall a little bit more in love. It's such a beautiful move, honestly.
It is. Every time I see it, I think about Kaz Hayashi. So that's the first time I ever saw the move was Kaz doing it. So I see it and I go, somebody watches All Japan.
Like a nice nod.
Or, Wrestle One or something.
Yeah. I mean, he's a mark also.
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander, CNC Wrestle Factory. Back from them old Ring of Honor days.
Yeah. Good stuff. And
Caprice is still in Ring of Honor, so.
Yeah.
But it was a good move. I liked. I think my one of my favorite spots was the Phoenix Splash. Or Rich Swann he loves doing Phoenix Splashes. So he did one to break up the bully choke that Kendrick had on Alexander. Great spot. It was really nicely done. And I was surprised actually by how this match ended clean. It was a clean pin for the faces in the middle of the ring after the lumbar check to Kendrick.
Great move.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, there's a lot of beautiful moves that they do. I mean, it's not just your typical cruiserweight, spotty match.
Well, I think they get away with a lot more because of the fact that it is a 205. That is their sort of gimmick and their appeal.
Yeah.
Is look at all these incredible spots they can do.
I mean, like the Phoenix Splash, but of course that is like one of his go-to moves, so it works in that aspect.
Also, speaking of cruiserweights, After the pre-show where Drew Gulak gave his long presentation about 205 and everything, I like him a little bit more now. I thought it was really good character work, and I liked how he slowly got crazier and crazier as he like continued on, which I think is good. It gives him something
to work with. Yeah,
and especially because he was so many of the cruiserweights, as far as storyline goes, are so direct, and it's no fault of their own. They're just not given much, but they're very directionless with their feuds and who they're fighting with and not fighting with and why not and all that. So I feel like the cruiserweights now are getting a little bit more direction. I'm very glad for that because I'm a big fan of the cruiserweights, and to see each of them have their little moments, both in ring and out of the ring, is great because this is what's going to make people care about them.
Also, I even hate to say this, I mean, as we can see, Neville is probably pretty much done. If all the reports and rumors are true, they're going to have to build somebody quick.
Very quick.
Because Neville was like the star, and
he was the king of the
Enzo as he's like the known guy that's been on Raw, who is probably the biggest facial representation of 205.
It's a real shame because
you got to build somebody up now, because there has to be somebody out of that group that
can rise to the top,
can stand out to the fans and be the face of the division.
And I think there are several people that actually have great potential for it. Hilariously, one of the people that they recently turned heel successfully, Jack Gallagher, was a really strong face that people got behind. Yeah. He was probably the most successful heel turn in 205.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they turned TJP, and that hasn't really gotten him anywhere. And I don't know if it's just a lack of being able to sell being a bad guy on his part, or maybe just not being given the right material on their part.
They may actually want to look to the UK division and bring some of those guys over.
Except the UK division has such great heels.
It does,
Pete
but
Dunne
Dunne could
good.
Easily be a face in the division, sadly.
I mean, Tyler Bate is
totally
a pretty big face
too.
Also, and so is Trent Seven.
Yeah, so I mean,
but he is not by any means cruiserweight weight.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of those guys really are like cruiserweight right there. I mean, they're.
Oh yeah, Mark Andrews. Yeah. Mark Andrews. If they brought in Mark Andrews, who did pretty impressively in the UK tournament and actually went on to have a couple of matches in NXT. He fought Tyler Bate for the belt once or twice, I believe.
There's a few NXT guys they could bring up to 205 that would probably work. I mean,
Gargano. They're not doing anything with him. They basically fed him to Andrade Cien Almas.
Right.
So, I mean, he was probably one of the other standouts in 205. Ho-Ho Lun they were really high on, but he requested his release due to family issues back in Hong Kong.
Which was unfortunate.
They're willing to shell out the money for Kota Ibushi.
Oh, God,
I know Kota has his match at Power Struggle, but if they don't give him the IWGP Intercontinental title, maybe he'll be more willing to talk.
True. Very true.
And that's in a couple of weeks.
And I don't want to start talking about New Japan on the TLC review, but you got to think that New Japan would see all this coming and that they'll strap him to keep him around.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I hope so.
Next match.
I just like talking about Kota Ibushi. I love
it. I know you do.
So the next match
Who
actually was Kenny. Oof, but that's a different video.
Yeah, we could bring Kenny over to put in the 205 division.
He's a little too heavy.
Oh.
I mean, he could cut the weight.
I'm sure they'll just say at 204.9. Kenny, everybody would die if he went to a...
That would be amazing.
Yeah, you could just bring Balor down to 205.
I mean, they're not doing anything else with him. But the next match was Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss for the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
Also a good one.
That was a really good match. I was very surprised by...
I thought it could go either way.
A lot of what happened in the match. I was very put off by hearing what I believed was Booker saying, He'll go with Bliss all night, like as far as like who he predicts will win this match. But just the phrasing.
I think Booker was off his thing all night.
It was very weird.
It seemed like he made a lot of commentary.
On
Yeah, they were calling him out on his commentary. Some of it was just like regular, scripted. But
the commentary was weird all around. Because Corey Graves, which is usually a heel commentator, was like super against Elias at every junction.
Yes, he does not like Elias singing, but he is aware of Elias's talent in the ring.
Yeah,
and it gets convoluted almost.
I was like,
often.
I feel like he needs to pick one, because then he'll talk him up in the ring when he's wrestling, but then during the actual like segments, he's just like, oh God, couldn't we get anyone else to do this? It's just like. You gotta pick a side. You gotta like someone or not like someone.
Commentary's not what it
your
used
color
to be.
commentary.
It's not what it used to be.
It's not.
It's not. We're not talking about Heenan out there.
Nigel McGuinness, I thought, did excellent as far as calling the cruiserweight matches.
Yeah.
But Corey Graves confuses me sometimes because he seems very non-committal, and it also seems very much like, depending on the brand and the day of the week, he's either a heel commentator or face commentator.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he's going to be on both, he needs to pick one solid character.
It needs to be one or the other. And used to, Michael Cole was the heel commentator for a long time. He was the heel. And then, we had JBL, great heel commentator.
Yeah, JBL's
even
great
though
heel
JBL
commentary.
Sometimes is
even though he's just generally also
when it comes to John Cena, JBL's all about John Cena.
Big match John.
It's like, what's going on there? Something's going on there between the two Johns.
Ay.
A little too much John in the Johns. Little John and John, Jimmy John.
Jimmy John's?
Yeah.
But Brock Lesnar wasn't there last night, so.
Commentary could always use improving. Although I do like Corey Graves. It's just like you're right, though. He needs to either be face or heel.
I do think he needs to pick. A couple of things for this women's match, even though we totally diverted and talked about commentary. But I was curious about how much they kept having Mickey kip up. Like, they kept, at every instance that she could, they made a point of it.
And they made a point to talk about it.
Yeah. And it's cool and all. It's not impressive, but the fact that you're like...
Well, it's not impressive when everybody does it.
But, this is what you keep talking about. Look at her. She kipped up again. She kipped up again. It's like... okay.
we get that she is older than all the new divas out there who... I don't even know who the oldest diva besides Mickey is.
I want to say Alicia Fox.
Probably. She's probably not even...
she's not old. But, she's in her 30s, I believe.
Yeah, probably early 30s. And Mickey's probably 40?
Late 30s, early 40s, maybe?
Maybe at the most. We could look that up, but probably we're not going to do that.
No, not right now.
But,
we'll add an addendum.
She's not that old. Especially
not.
If you consider this topic never comes up with the men.
Men, yeah.
So it's kind of ludicrous that this is the...
And it's
the whole gimmick.
I feel like specifically with Mickie James, she gets a lot of flack all throughout her career. First it was because she was crazy, then because they thought she was fat, and then...
Yeah.
And also, by the way... If they really thought she was fat, they probably wouldn't have her wrestle in a shirt. They probably would have her wrestle in a shirt. There we go.
Like Corbin.
Like Alexa Bliss did. Just saying. Just something I noticed. She wrestled in a shirt. Then the other women wrestled in shirts.
Yeah.
Just her.
It is I think for a company who wants to talk about bullying,
and especially
quite a lot.
Trying to be like a positive influence, especially in, breast cancer awareness month.
Right.
To have a storyline that puts down a woman, especially someone like Mickie James.
Almost be okay. It would almost be okay if you're going to do the storyline, but then you have like this big rainbow happy ending with it, where you do show that this is wrong when people do this.
And she can overcome the odds and still be a champion.
They haven't really ever done that
No.
when they're talking about fat shaming, or they're talking about you're too old, or this is that. I mean, even with the Jinder Shinsuke storyline, it got across that, okay, this is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and
how they
acceptable.
portrayed it was that, you know,
even though it is
not good for people to think this, and it's not right that they think this about. And Jinder made it inclusive. It's not right that they think this about us.
Right. I thought it was a good twist on it, but it was just so poorly done. Not Jinder doing it poorly.
The execution and
Jinder did the execution
was fine.
It, but
I mean, it was as good as it was going to be. But just that the foundational concept.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I felt like it.
I've always had a really sort of soft spot for Mickie James. And I've always really felt badly that she always takes so much flack. And I respect that she's willing to do it for the company. But it's sort of ridiculous after a certain point where they keep calling her fat and old and this and that. Yeah. And it's sort of like, well, then what's the point?
Yeah, is that the only storyline you can think of?
Especially if you're not going to have her overcome it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. I get it. You all like Alexa Bliss and the things that she can do, both in ring and out of ring, apparently. But I mean, to not even give a push to Mickie James after she's gone through all this flack is just ridiculous, and just like wastes the whole concept of the fact that Alexa Bliss is being a bully and needs to be taught a lesson because she doesn't get her comeuppance. She's still champion. It took one single DDT to Mickie James to pin her. Yeah.
And, I mean, they haven't really tried to build up that this is Alexa Bliss's DDT, like Jake's DDT.
Yeah.
That this is her go-to move. I mean, it's her finisher, but it's not like...
It also doesn't look quite as devastating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they had her land Twisted Bliss... Because it used to be called the Glitz Flip.
Yeah. I think they really should have, you know, I thought the match was good and everything. It ended kind of like, okay, well, this is expected, believable. But I think if they had Alexa Bliss just take the title and run, it would have had the same effect.
Have Mickie James get the win. You don't even have to have her win the belt, but just to have her get that win. And I mean, she gave a really nice promo afterwards where she talked about, you know, she was disappointed, but this isn't the last you'll see of me, which made it feel very much like this was the last we'll see of her.
Right. I think, too, it would have stretched it out. It would have made Bliss look, you know, like she can't beat
like she was shook.
And then you do the next pay-per-view with them fighting, and she does beat Mickie, and it makes her look better, but Mickey's already has been built up from it somewhat. But... what do I know?
Yeah, what do we know? We're just wrestling marks, right?
Yeah.
So the next match after that was Neville versus Kalisto for the WWE Cruiserweight Champion. Lucha.
You mean Enzo?
Oh.
You said Neville.
I said Neville?
You said Neville.
Oh, I wrote Neville. Whoa.
That's some Freudian slipping right there.
Woo! I just switched, but yeah, it was Enzo.
It was Enzo, and Enzo won the belt back, and it wasn't an awful match.
I mean, it allowed Kalisto to look good, because he did a whole bunch of really great moves. He did, you know, his typical flippy shit,
right?
I think it did great work for Enzo as a heel because he kept going for the mask.
Yeah.
Several times through the match, he tried to get the mask off, and I'm not
an
dirty.
Enzo fan. He's come a little ways better than where he first started. I still think he's got a long way to go. He has down a lot of great stuff. I mean, he knows the psychology aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You know, like you said, working the mask, he can work the mic.
Oh,
you know, he has all that. He just doesn't. He doesn't have like the foundational
how to be a heel. He knows personality wise, and he's got the charisma for it. 100%. That is not in question.
Yeah,
it's just the fact that he can't back it up.
Yeah, he would be a great manager.
But I mean,
I've said this so many times.
It's great though that they have him, in sort of a way to acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. He never wins clean.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a bad guy now, and of course, it makes it work even better that he is actually cheating.
And I mean, that's how he won the match. Was a classic vintage double thumb to the eye.
I really feel like they said, learn 2 moves, learn them well. We'll figure the rest out.
Yeah, and I mean, what were those 2 moves?
That's his finisher that he stole from Gail Kim.
The Jadunzo.
Yeah, and
he hit a DDT, which is called the DDG.
The DDG. But I mean, it was a good match.
I mean, how good he hits them is questionable.
Right.
But
he's learning, and it is working.
He's such a cash cow that they're happy to work with him.
It is.
And I gotta respect his charisma because it's undeniable.
Yeah.
He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to work a match.
Yeah.
As far as talk.
Yeah.
Can't quite walk the walk yet, but I mean.
Skywalker.
Maybe you gotta lace up something besides Jordans.
If he laced up that mouth sometimes, then that might get it a little bit further. Yeah, it was, for what it was a good match. I had no complaints about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that this leads to him going, oh, well, now I'm champ again, none of you can touch me, and Kurt Angle coming out. Actually, that was only for your first championship run.
Yeah.
Because I anticipate he's probably going to try and fall back on that clause.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they need...
But, I mean, think of this. He is the second 2-time Cruiserweight champion. The first being Adrian.
I feel that he will probably be the first 3-time...
I think so, too.
Cruiserweight champion, too.
Unless Neville comes back out of nowhere.
I don't think he's going to come back.
That would make me so happy, though. Neville.
Just because...
Royal Rumble comes out.
The reports, the dirt sheets, they're saying that he's, like, super happy right now.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And, I mean, like, he was the workhorse of the Cruiserweight division because of the fact that they needed someone to play that big heel role. And he did it better than anyone else.
He can go right now.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of like left while he was... he lost the title, but he was still on top.
He could go anywhere right now. He could go to TNA if he somehow wants to. They would find a place for him in Japan because the Bullet Club wants him. Ring of Honor.
Bullet Club, Cruiser, or
he could go to Progress, division. ICW, like anywhere.
Junior. He could go to conquer the junior
division. I mean, Marty Scurll did tease and say, hey, I might be looking for a tag team partner for the junior heavyweight tag team titles, and posted a picture of...
He could go to Ring of Honor and be in Cody's Bullet Club there.
He could do a whole lot of stuff.
He could go to Impact Wrestling.
He could join British Strong Style with Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, and Pete Dunne.
I mean, it's really, the options are endless for him after his
his no compete clause.
His no compete clause, but if
also
they let him out of his contract.
Yeah, if they let him out of his contract early, or if they're gonna just ride it out and have him just not on TV.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they're livid with him for walking out.
Right. So yeah, it's a toss up what's going on there, but the 205 is moving on without him. So
tenuously.
Yeah. What's next?
The next match is your favorite match, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor.
I was let down in how they handled this from the start. Even when it was supposed to be Sister Abigail versus the Pumpkin King.
Yeah. Thankfully, he was not the Pumpkin King anyway.
He was still the demon, which did not make any sense to me. Because he was coming as the demon for Bray.
Yeah. Or he was coming as the Pumpkin King demon for Bray.
Whatever.
Because he's already fought Bray as the demon.
Right. So him
perhaps
showing up as
this was
the demon,
him trying to change gears for AJ Styles, but I feel like if he was going to fight AJ Styles, it should have been as the real Rock and Roller.
Yeah,
but perhaps they're saving that. Perhaps they're saving that specifically.
It just doesn't...
It was
I don't know.
we had talked about it earlier, right? And it was just sort of like it was
it's so thrown
too
together.
Early.
It's too early. It was not the right venue for it.
It's not the right type of match.
I know
it
these
been bigger.
I don't even know what to call them anymore. They're not really just marks. They're like these casual wrestling fans who think they're like the super wrestling fan or something. And these guys, and even a lot of the more hardcore wrestling
People
fans,
who
were
see the Bullet Club
marking
shirts
out
at Hot
of it.
Topic and think they're cool.
You know, they were super marking out on it, like, oh my god, you know, this is the best match of the card.
On paper, it
wasn't though.
On
paper, it sounds
looks
great.
like a great match. But I mean, as far as how they booked that match, it was really unfortunate because now I think it's forced them to shift gears in a way they weren't ready for, and so many things that should have been played out as far as a long game are now being moved up more quickly. And
I mean, this is something that should have happened.
There's a lot less planning that's going into them, so that the storylines are less thought out.
Not at Mania, but maybe the next WrestleMania, this match should have happened. I mean, if done right, they could have done it this Mania.
I was like, even if they wanted to rush it, the earliest that they should have rushed it to was this coming Mania.
Right. So I mean,
it was. I mean, neither man did poorly in the match.
Well, I have.
It wasn't poor per se. It was disappointing, but I wouldn't go so far as saying like it was.
It was
they did
too
poorly.
rushed. There was no build to it at all. And I know there was like some defense even from I think Talking Raw or whatever. They were like, "Oh, this match, you know, there was no build, there was this, that, and it kind of made it a little more special." It did not make it any more special
because there was no real reason for them to fight.
I'm going to hill it up here because this was a money making match. This was a dream match.
It could have sold out. Or
anywhere.
You could have announced that and sold out an arena
anywhere. And to throw it together at the last minute, to fly AJ from Chile all the way up.
Poor Styles, by the way.
Right. I mean, he's a trooper.
Yeah, for doing it anyway, mad respect. He's a consummate professional.
He had
he's
his
a phenomenal
match
one. But
on Friday, and then flew up.
Like 19 hours.
Where was TLC from?
That was Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. So he flew up, I think it was an 18-hour flight. And then maybe had enough time to sleep a little bit, and then
had to get ready for the show.
But yeah,
I mean, I think part of the reason why it was so late in the card is because of that, to give Styles a little bit more time. But I mean,
here's
it was
my
just
thing. I think that's mad props to him that he did that, and
no disrespect.
He jumped on it, and
either of these men, honestly, because they were just doing what they were told by the higher ups. So I respect both of them.
I mean,
for
he's
it.
a professional, and this is what he does for a living. But these guys do this for a living, and they're constantly hopping a flight, hitting the next place. And if they got time, they sleep. If not, they hit the gym, they hit the tanning salon, they get something to eat, and they go to the arena. And this is not a singular occurrence of something like this. This is their life.
On weeks on end.
So
for most of them. I mean, if they're lucky, they get maybe a day off.
Right.
Where they're...
And if they have time, they'll drive. But sometimes it's on the next other side of the country, or they have to go to another country.
I mean, when
that's what they do. They're constantly on the go.
To Hawaii, so it was SmackDown that came. So on Tuesday night, they were in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Wednesday night, they were here.
Yeah.
Thursday morning or Thursday midday, they flew off to Japan.
Right.
And then by Friday, they were doing shows in Japan.
It's a 6-hour flight from Vegas.
Yeah.
And then
a little bit longer because it's about 6 hours from here to LA.
Okay.
So I'd say it's maybe about 8.
Yeah.
Just to give a good amount of time.
And they're losing time.
Yeah.
Right? Am I going the right way? Yeah. So they're losing time too.
They're
so
going
it's
back.
even less amount of time to sleep and everything when they do stuff like that. So then after that show, they went to the hotel, they caught a couple hours of sleep. The next day they left for Japan, which is how long of a flight to Japan?
I'm not sure.
I want to say like 10 or 12.
It's quite a long flight, though.
I know it's longer than going to the mainland from Hawaii.
And then Japan is 19 hours ahead of Hawaii, specifically. So
I mean, this is something that
all of that
they
must
do
have
all
been
the time.
yeah. But all of
So,
that, even if you're used to it, you're never really used to it.
Right. But I'm hearing that excuse for a lot of like this particular match, and like, oh, like, oh, it was the match of the night. Well, no, it wasn't. Yeah, but he flew up from Chile. Yeah, but they do that all the time.
Yeah.
And then I'll hear, oh, it was match of the year.
No,
it's like,
no disrespect.
It was,
but...
there's no disrespect. I like AJ. I'm a huge fan of AJ. He's one of my daughter's favorites. I like Balor. But when you have something like AJ versus Cena, which is considered possibly match of the year, and you compare it to this match, it could have been match of the year with a proper build and everything if they didn't just like throw them together at the last minute. But it definitely was not match of the night or match of the year, in my opinion. I thought it was very poorly thought out because AJ is getting ready to enter at least a mini feud with Jinder Mahal, who is the WWE World Champion, and he loses to Balor, who is not in any
capacity,
way
anywhere close to
any title,
or even
he's not in contention
for
the
title, but not
even for the
Universal. Which is
he's not in contention for the 205 title. He is no contention whatsoever. And you have AJ lose to Balor after he's lost to Corbin twice.
Yeah.
He was pinned by Corbin, and then he lost his U.S. title to Corbin. So this hurts AJ.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get it's a Raw pay-per-view, but in my mind...
But it's not like someone's going to watch Raw and not watch SmackDown.
Right. If you're going to do this match, it should have ended in like a double count out.
Yeah.
Them getting over the top, livid,
or
losing
some sort of
their tempers.
interference between a third party.
Or calling the match off. Have the Good Brothers come out and be like, "Hey guys, let's settle this down. We're a little overheated. We're all brothers." Something into that manner, and leaving this match as an open-ended thing for the real match.
Yeah, without having one or the other take the pinfall.
Yeah.
That to me was the most disappointing part. Because Balor got the pin. I mean, don't get me wrong, Balor needed a win. But
he didn't.
So did Styles.
I mean,
I think both of them
he
at
needs
this
a good
point
feud and a win, but even with Bray, a loss to Bray at this point is not gonna get him ahead, but it's not gonna really push him down either. Because Balor's
winning against Bray hasn't done anything for him.
Yeah,
so I think he needed a big win against someone that people think matters. But then by having Styles do the job, Styles has been brought down.
Yeah, especially because now you're gonna go to SmackDown and he's gonna try to challenge Jinder again. Jinder last week said, "Why do you deserve a title shot? You lost to Corbin."
And this proves it.
And now he's going to say, "Why should I give you a title shot? You lost to Balor, who is nobody on Raw." And so it's like, how are you going to build AJ up for this feud if you keep having him lose?
Him.
And and maybe we couldn't say he's quite buried from this match, but in general, it's lowered his stock.
Oh yeah,
as far as that,
which is unfortunate because he is such a huge talent and has been such a great addition to the WWE on every level that he's competed on. But to have him at this juncture,
I don't think it was fair to either of them. Also, because they both know this was a big match.
Yeah.
Like you said, on paper, but in general, they know the fans are expecting something big, and I feel like they kind of choked a little bit. There was a couple of botches. They were recovered fairly well from them because they are professionals. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But at a few points, since they never actually have worked together, there was an arm drag that I believe Balor was supposed to take, and he kind of just sandbagged it accidentally. And
I was like, and
AJ
I don't
fell
think
like
any of these
flat on his
botches
face.
happened on purpose. Of course not.
I mean,
but it was just because of the fact that they probably also didn't even have time to go through anything together because of the fact that the travel schedule was so tight.
And
that I think it was hard.
I don't want to accept excuses because WWE as a global company should have been bigger than this and able not to panic. They had 3 days to plan this out, and I'm sorry, but Vince makes last-minute decisions all the time. So the people who booking this and everything should have been able to throw something
anticipate
together.
or something. Yeah.
I mean, they talk about it all the time, how you never know when somebody's going to get injured and you have to book on the fly. This proves that they don't know how to do that, obviously. But yeah, there was an arm drag. I mean, I thought Balor did a good job of turning it into a surfboard after that. I think AJ even like hit hard. He went for it and you just hear...
Yeah, I
was like, oh!
It was a little rough. The other moments that I thought was positive.
There was like a backbreaker he almost botched. There was the spine buster where they both went over the table. I don't think that was supposed to happen.
I like how you're trying to just call these out, and I'm trying to be like, but there's a couple things I liked.
That's the thing. I was like, I'm not emotionally attached to it, not to call it out, and I really do like both of them. I want to see both of them get over.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that this match shouldn't have happened now. And I mean,
both these men are so much more talented than this match showed.
Yeah, that's what bothers me the most, is that this was a match that should have been match of the night. That should have been candidate for match of the year, and it just obviously wasn't. No matter how anybody wants it to be, it was not. And I can go through it and I can say, well, this, and this, and the return argument I keep hearing is, well, Chile, and well, this is the first time they had a match together,
and X, Y, and Z, and blah blah blah.
And those are all
we didn't anticipate this match was gonna happen. It's like, well, maybe you should have planned.
So here's
better.
my other thing, because I did catch a little bit of Raw before this. You have Balor go over. This is a big win for him, like we said. There's no way that. Like, okay, if we do get Abigail versus the Demon at the next pay-per-view, Survivor Series maybe, I don't know, he has to go over Bray or this is kind of all for naught.
Yeah.
But then on Raw, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but on Raw, we get Demon versus Demon.
Oh.
We get Demon versus Demon, and... this is another kind of like one of those, oh, this could be a really cool feud. Nope, the match is happening now. And Balor loses. Clearly, cleanly, short match. Kane eats Balor alive. So I kind of go back to, okay, well, what did he just beat AJ Styles, who's going to be like the number one contender for the world title?
Yeah.
It's like Balor should have pulled that trick out of his hat and beat Kane with at least like a sneaky win or something or other. But they just had him destroy Balor in the ring. 3 choke slams, 1, 2, 3, it's over. And I kind of go, okay, what was the point?
This is an absolute waste.
It was
an absolute waste of people all around.
And I know all the fanboys that are cheering match of the year are going, oh, well, you know, it's Kane. Kane can beat anybody.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. If
he's going to be gone in like a month again,
So why feed someone to him?
You know.
I mean, this could have been a really good opportunity, but it makes me wonder then, when it was originally booked as Demon versus Sister Abigail, was Sister Abigail then supposed to win?
I have no idea.
Have Finn maybe go on this losing streak? Because, I mean, they had to have anticipated Kane for a while.
You know,
and booked this in anticipation of what was happening last night. Because I believe they usually try and book the Raw pay-per-view and the Raw afterwards, you know, within reason of each other. But it seems like they had booked the pay-per-view and the Raw and then had to make changes to the pay-per-view and then also didn't try to make many changes to the Raw.
I don't feel that Balor has been built up better than AJ Styles.
No. Not by a long shot.
By everything we've seen, I feel like AJ was the favorite to go into this match and win, and it just did not seem that case. They kind of talked it up like, you know, it's going to be Balor. It's like totally 100%, you know, that way. And I don't know, I just felt all around it was not well thought out. And especially the after aspect with Raw. I don't know how you have Kane, who's coming off of 17 buffet lines, no tanning booths, and sitting behind a desk trying to run his campaign from Hellfire and Brimstone. And he comes in and...
It was very baffling how they had Kane involved in Monday Night Raw, or in the pay-per-view and in Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you can get out of it is say, okay, he's coming in to go after Roman Reigns as revenge for Undertaker. And that they were going to do that feud. I think they had it planned that they were going to do that feud to try to get Reigns' next feud to get him over, which to me is another big... You can't keep booking him against guys who are already mega over with the fans, especially Kane, because, I mean, even though... He can do the heel role really well. Kane is
beloved both in the ring and outside of the ring, as far as backstage, front of stage, all over. A lot of people have a lot of really nice things to say about him. Yeah. They have mad respect for him and how much he's given to the company. So, I mean, like, they love him.
If you're going to do it in that manner, it really has to be corporate Kane.
Yeah.
And then he gets a little bit of heat from that, but... That was a really long message. Yeah. Anyway, next match.
Next match was the final match, the main event. So that was Sierra Hotel Intensity Integrity Intelligence Echo Lima Delta. I had to actually look it up because I couldn't remember the order of the I's.
And what can we say about this? I thought it was an exciting match, at least to start.
Yeah, I mean, they had the whole cool thing where.
Angle comes out in Shield uniform.
Yeah, I mean, first it's, Rollins and Ambrose that you see, and then, boop, out of nowhere.
Oh, it's true.
It's damn true. And in Roman's gear, in supposedly Roman's gear, so hopefully he doesn't get viral meningitis.
If it was Roman's gear, he'd have to, roll those cuffs up so much on the pants. Which they should have done. Should have, way rolled up. Anyway, they had to do it, though. I felt like you can't have Angle in this match not in Shield get up. Because it would just look way too corny. I thought when they brought him back out, they could have had him just in his regular attire.
And I mean, yeah.
It was cringeworthy quite a bit, though, because...
Yeah, I mean, they tried very much to have him just as a placeholder for Roman Reigns and doing the same sort of stuff. But then also it was terrifying because, his medical history and stuff like that. And this is a TLC match. And every time he went through a table, every time he took a chair shot, I was just like...
And this is me knowing that they're lying to us every time they say, oh, it's been 11 years since I've been in a WWE ring. WWE ring.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been back for not even a year, right? Just since WrestleMania.
Oh, how long has he been wrestling?
Back to WWE. Back to WWE.
Yeah, not
just
even a year.
Just since last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has wrestled at least a year ago.
He only stopped taking... Because it was announced in January, I believe, that he was
coming back.
Well, that he was the main person for Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that was around the time, so I think late December, maybe early January, he took the last of his bookings.
Yeah.
On the independent
Because I think
circuit.
One of his last bookings was against Cody, wasn't it?
For WCPW, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has been wrestling as recently as 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Maybe even sooner. Maybe 9 months ago. So... Yeah, I mean, this portrayal.
But I mean, this is also with people who are in the indie scene, so they're a lot better. I feel, and I don't know if this is true or not, but because they don't have the big name contract or whatever, they're a lot better at protecting each other.
True.
Because they know the risks.
But let's not forget, it hasn't been that long that he was in TNA as well.
Yeah.
Which he took some huge risks.
He sure did.
And TNA is where he got better, though. I would give him that kind of props because they brought him aboard and they totally helped, kind of let him do his rehab and nurse him back to health. And he totally helped them, too, big company.
It was a nice...
Kind of wasted some stuff there, but like Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, which they wanted to build over a year, but nope, they jumped right into it. But I mean, it's not that he hasn't been wrestling since he left WWE 11 years ago.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing like how they did with Mickie James, where they're just like, oh, she hasn't been in the WWE ring for 7 years. And will there be any signs of ring rust? And
I
I'm
see
just
people saying that too, like, oh my God, like, yo, it's been 11 years. No, it hasn't. Not that he doesn't have ring rust. Like, he kind of looked a little bit rusty because it has been several months, quite a few months. But I still cringed.
Well, and I think
every time he went through the table.
Well, I think also
got hit in the head.
Well, I mean, because his injuries before were so severe that it could have ended his career had he not rehabbed correctly or had he not had the time to rehab. That makes it all the more like.
I think too that everybody knows Angle is going to go out there and give like 300%,
and he did.
If he if he has 50, he's going to give you 300.
Yeah.
And I was really let down. I called a moonsault table spot, and it didn't happen. So if you're listening, Kurt, you owe me a moonsault spot. I think they did go into it going, okay, we're going to only do limited Kurt in this match because obviously they want it to appear that he's in such bad shape and everything for when he does do that big return.
Yeah.
Kurt gets taken out. There was a beautiful spot with him getting power slammed through a table by Braun Strowman. Kurt gets taken out, and it is 5-on-2.
It is 5-on-2, and it is a goddamn massacre.
And
I mean, there's points where the infighting on the Miz's side
the only saving grace
really helped them and gave Dirty Dean and Seth Rollins this sort of reprieve from getting beaten up.
One of my favorite parts of this match was Kane hits Strowman with a chair. Braun turns around, pissed, and Kane kind of goes...
It's like, what?
Like, I'm not going to say sorry, but you're
fine.
You're all right.
You're fine. Yeah.
What?
And he shoves him.
Like, who has ever shoved Kane across the ring off of his feet?
That was awesome. Honestly,
I mean,
what and again, what a missed opportunity to finally follow through with the Braun Strowman face turn.
And I thought we were going to really get it because
I thought he was going to bust out of that dump truck.
That's what I was waiting on.
I was waiting for it because they lingered on
everybody
it.
Was waiting,
and I was just
for
like
spot.
waiting for the dunk.
When it happened, it's like, okay, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get the Strowman face turn finally. Even though we've kind of gotten the Strowman face turn, they just never follow through with it.
Yeah, they haven't actually,
They throw him in the dump truck, and Miz is kind of like, oh, what have we done?
Yeah, it was very
this
much
is
like
not good.
He has this look of like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah, this is not
and then
going well.
He's thinking this is one of the few things I really like about the Miz is you can see all the character work that's going on without even him talking, but you can see he's thinking like, I'm gonna be a dad and this guy's gonna come after me.
This guy's gonna come after me, yeah. And so
because it's my fault that he's in this match.
After he gets chokeslammed through the stage, after all the chairs are pulled down.
Which that was super cool too. I liked that a whole lot. We're just like looks at it. Yeah,
Kane did some great acting too. In this.
Oh yeah, Kane is always quality, honestly.
Braun gets up and comes out and goes after Kane.
Yeah,
he's tossing everybody around, and until finally the numbers game gets on him. 4-on-1. They throw him in the dump truck, the garbage truck, dump truck, as I think Michael Cole said. Side note. Michael Cole, why? Can we just get rid of him already? It just drags the commentary down. Anyway, so he's in the dump truck, and I'm expecting him to tear out, and I think everybody is expecting Braun to tear out.
I totally thought it was going to happen.
When we don't get that, when you've
built up to it. I was also hoping for Joe to come out just somewhere.
I didn't think they would do Joe, but I thought they would do Joe for Braun versus Brock. But I expected Strowman to tear out the dump truck, come back to the ring, and just destroy everyone, and then throw on whoever. And then tonight on Raw, I thought, well, they're going to be one man down still yet, And so if they did another 3-on-3, Rollins and Ambrose would be like, we got a third man. And then Braun comes out.
That would be. I would
Face
support that.
turn complete. But instead, garbage truck drives away, and we have no idea what's going on with Braun Strowman.
Who can tell?
And it's like, okay, I guess they're turning him face. The pay-per-view left it really ambiguous. Angle comes back out, goes on his tear, and then that's it. You know, that's a wrap. And then a few Angle slams, and
so the one thing that freaked me out is they had they were gonna put Dirty Dean through a table.
Yes.
The table did not break.
A few times.
I had a moment where as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it didn't break. Oh my God.
And I don't know what was going on. Maybe Dean's dropped down the 205 and he's going to head over that way. But the one on the in the ring, he bounced right off of it, and his head kind of
it was ugly.
Until Braun picked him up and just slammed him through the table. It was like, okay, apparently they didn't cut this table. Then they went up on the ramp, and there was 2 tables, and I believe it was it Kane or Braun that was choke slamming?
Kane
going to choke slam Rollins and Ambrose through 2 tables. Rollins goes through, and Ambrose the leg broke again, I believe.
I think the table sort of broke, but not like cleanly as it should have.
In both instances, the legs broke. So I almost partially wonder if there wasn't some kind of gag that was going on.
Because they hate Dean Ambrose and want him to get physically injured.
I have no idea, but
I know.
The legs just
I've heard that Renee Young has a lot of heat backstage because she has apparently some sort of attitude problem. I don't know if this is true, but I've read some things where because she does so much as far as commentary and the pre-shows and Raw Talk and SmackDown and all that, and does the backstage interviews, she's gotten to a point where she thinks that she's a big deal. And so maybe because of certain actions of her, he's taking the heat because he's the one that gets thrown around in rings. I don't know if this is true.
I could understand.
But I've heard that the reason why Dirty Dean takes a lot of these really harsh bumps compared to both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns is because, or at least partially because of that.
To continue to be something the company can kind of go to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can't argue that she has a definite connection with the fans more than any other commentator has.
Perhaps with the male fans. The female fans are no longer that much of a fan of her because of the fact that she is banging Dean Ambrose. And I feel bad for her because I mean, hey, you don't. I mean, he chose her too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think she's she seems more real than some of the other.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like Renee Young,
and
I think that she's got really good personality, and I think she's perfect for doing the pre-show stuff because she's really good at being the sort of ringleader and having people gathered together and directing discussion and stuff like that. But who knows? So who knows if that's true? That's just some dirt sheet rumors I've heard.
So that was right there. That was it. That was the pay-per-view. They did the Shield Bomb. Angle got the pin on Miz. I thought if they want to build this way, Angle Miz could be something worth telling.
Yeah.
Especially if they keep going with, Angle as the Raw GM and have him and Miz go back and forth. Angle start booking him in possible matches that he can't get out of, especially if they do finally pull the trigger and turn Braun face. Braun versus Miz.
For the IC belt.
Miz cannot escape Braun. Have him maybe get away with it for a few times and then do book a lumberjack match.
Yeah, have him run out or have him use
I know they just did that with the 205,
Axel
but
and,
down the road.
And Dallas, when Dallas comes back, if he comes back, have the bar interfere as well, just
something.
There's a lot of roadblocks that he can put up for when Braun finally wins the match.
And strap Braun and build Braun that way as a face would be pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it would
put a little bit more credibility to the IC title that Miz has done a great job with. And then you can move Miz on up to challenge for the Universal title. Royal Rumble, Miz versus Lesnar. I mean, that writes itself, really.
As far as promo-wise, I mean, that would
Miz
be incredible.
Heyman,
Miz Heyman would be fantastic. I would love it.
Or even for, can't remember what the February Raw pay-per-view is, or it's January. Oh, it's going to be Elimination Chamber this year, I think, right?
Is it?
I think
February?
Raw has Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, because SmackDown had it this past year. So,
So I mean, right there, who knows? But I would definitely I would strap for the IC belt. At least after the Kane feud, apparently it's going to happen now, because when Raw, Kane comes out and talks smack about Braun. It's like, he was trash, and I took out the trash, and it was that kind of promo. Right before he destroyed Balor in like 8 minutes.
and just
After
ruined
the
Balor's
supposed
win.
match of the year versus AJ Styles that took like half an hour, 40 minutes to happen. I just want to throw that out there. That this booking is just pure crap.
is very questionable.
Speaking of trash, this booking was trash. They could have canceled the pay-per-view and just
had people
replayed
less angry.
anything, and it would have been much
Less disappointed.
Yeah. They could have brought Hornswoggle in to face Balor.
Swags is solidly with Impact. I think he's like...
No, he's gone from Impact.
Isn't he?
Yeah. That
Is
was
this recent?
short-lived. No.
Because I just recently read
The
something
big exodus.
that he...
The mass exodus.
That he's known as Swoggle
Swoggle.
in
Swoggle.
TNA. That he is still known as Swoggle in TNA.
Not on the indie scene, he's Swoggle. Yeah. That was short-lived. Wow, we just added a little bit of TNA news to that TLC pay-per-view. So, yeah, that's it.
That is
We'll
it.
see what the build to Survivor Series is. The only thing I know is that Survivor Series will be Raw versus SmackDown in total.
Completely Raw
Completely Raw versus SmackDown. As of right now, there will be one 5-man Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match.
I think there's also going to be the
There will be
women's 5-on-5.
one women's 5-on-5 SmackDown versus Raw match.
And the breaking news is that there will be head-to-head Jinder Mahal versus
Brock Lesnar, but there will also be Baron Corbin versus The Miz, and
mid-card versus mid-card.
Alexa Bliss versus Natalya. And which is really odd in a lot of ways, because you're going to have heel versus heel and heel versus heel.
Yeah. And you're also going to have
So,
two different title holders fighting against each other rather than giving some sort of opportunity. I know what they did last year when Dolph Ziggler was the IC champion.
And
they had someone on Raw challenge for it, and if the person on Raw won, then the belt would be transferred, which I thought would have been
I
cool.
thought that was cool. Especially since what they're doing is Night of the Champions sort of thing. This should be Night of the Champions type of card instead. I mean, one match is okay. Like, I could see Jinder versus Brock, because
Jinder versus Brock should happen.
Jinder really needs that win. But to do the rest of the show like that is kind of, unless their plans is to turn Miz face by using Corbin, who sucks. But Natalya versus Alexa, what are you going to do there? Are you going to turn Bliss face?
Unless they're going to have a title change prior to.
I guess that would be possible, and then that champion would face.
And then just have it announced as
Corbin
Natalya
versus
right now.
Braun. I would love to see Braun just destroy Corbin.
Yeah, just power slam him.
Because Corbin couldn't do any of his moves to Braun, I don't think.
No. Braun is too big.
Yeah.
His moves require someone who is smaller than him.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I mean, that's possible. Oh yeah, and the one good match would be Shield, Rollins and Ambrose versus the Usos.
Would it be? I feel like it should be 3 versus 3, so that would lead itself to Shield versus.
It should totally be
New
Roman
Day.
Reigns is the special guest referee.
If he's recovered in time.
Yeah, well, we got a little bit of time, right?
About a month.
Got about a month. Should be all right. Should be a rest, right?
Yeah, I...
Be all right. Hey, I got over viral meningitis and started a brand new job, so at the same time, I took like 4 days off. I quit a job because I had viral meningitis. I just started a job as like a promotion, quit, took like a couple days off, got another job offer. I was like, AJ, this is too good to pass up, yo. And so I flew up from Chile and started the job, and yeah.
And did the job
while I had viral meningitis, and it still took a while. It took at least a month. So, yeah, not something you want to travel with or do anything with, really.
Or exist with.
Yeah, that part too.
Yeah, I think we should cut it short now because this video is over an hour long now.
Right. This video is already longer than the pay-per-view, probably.
Ooh. Yeah, the pay-per-view actually went by really fast. Without all the filler, it was probably about this.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. That's how I felt about the pay-per-view.
That's how we both felt about the pay-per-view.
I think your comment was, "Welp."
Yeah. As soon as it was all said and done, it was just like, well, it happened.
There you go.
What can we do? We're just smarks. We can talk about it on the internet.
Smarts.
What's a smart mark? A mark with a high IQ?
Yeah. At least I understand how it should work. I call them Marxists.
That's